Hey everyone, you're all very welcome to Underground Cinema. As everybody knows, we are in the middle of interviewing as many nominees to the 16th Underground Cinema Awards as we possibly can. We did it last year; it was a huge success last year. So we're going to just try and keep the momentum going. So we're sort of halfway through our interviews. So I'm delighted to say now this afternoon I've got Michael Antonio Keane with me. Michael directed a brilliant short film called Into the Silence, which has been nominated for 3 awards this year. So it's up for Best Student Award, it's up for Best Sound Design, and it's also up for Best Cast Ensemble. You're very welcome, Michael. How are you?
I'm keeping well, thank you. How are you keeping?
Yeah, great, Michael, great. I met you for the first time down in Deliri in September, yourself and then the rest of the girls. It was great to see you and great to chat to you about this film, which I thought went really well down in Deliri.
Yes, it was really nice to have it, in person and to really experience the audience as well. You always get different reactions every time you screen it, so it's very interesting as a filmmaker to be amongst the crowd watching it.
Yeah, absolutely. I couldn't agree with you more. I mean, it's a great place. Normally, as a director or a producer, I'd sit at the back of the room so I can get an idea of the audience
Yeah.
reaction, even though it's their shoulders are, you can't see their face. You can actually get an awful lot from the body language by sitting down at the back of the room. And there was a good crowd at the screening that day as well. So yeah, but for those that haven't seen the film, maybe you might give everybody just a little synopsis on what the film was all about.
Sure. The film is set in the 1990s, just in and out of Dublin, and it focuses on the rave culture, the free party movement. And we're leaning in towards, the acid house music, how it influenced the youth at the time. It was obviously quite a chaotic time. So the film centers on a young lad named Bastian, and he's navigating the rave scene with his mate Alex. But I think there's more to it other than the rave movement. I think
Yeah.
it's all about kind of how music can unite a society and a group of people, and how it can heal a lot of things as well. It was very interesting for us because it was our first time, as storytellers, to kind of lean into a historical piece like the 1990s. So we had a really interesting time just with the set design and coming up with the characters and even the dialogue and the lingo to keep it as authentic and raw as possible within our fictional world.
Yeah, I love the way you say historic because I lived through that period.
Yes, yes. I
So,
remember at the festival we spoke about it, and it's always great, when people connect with it and the time, because it was quite a different world than it is now.
it was like, and that's probably why I enjoyed it so much. So I was sort of 80s and 90s. So
Yeah.
this film was set in 1996 or thereabouts, I think, if I'm not mistaken.
So it's actually set in 1993, and it's like New
Or
Year's. So
1993.
yeah, but it's kind of over a period of a couple of days when it transitions
Yeah.
into 94, when the Criminal Justice Act was introduced, banning the raves essentially. Yeah.
Yeah. So I would have been. I was working at the age when I watched it again last night. So
Mhm.
I would have been 22 at the time. So
Yeah, like
it
myself.
was it
Yeah.
was in the thick of the scene. To be honest with you, at the time, I had
Mhm.
moved out of home. Raves were huge. In fact, I lived in Delaria at the time in a flat in Delaria. Two guys that lived just above me. There were two roofers, and
Wow.
every month there would be a rave
Yeah.
upstairs in there. It was a Georgian house, and do you know what they used to have to do, Michael? I lived underneath them, and they used to come into my flat and get scaffolding and joists so they could hold. They'd screw up with planks of wood across the ceiling, and screw everything up in case the ceiling came through because it was an old house. And there were
Yeah.
nights like that all over Dunleary. They were all over Dublin. It was a really, really big scene at the
You can
time.
imagine the sound of the bass and the way it impacts buildings and all that. Like it's quite funny, like your story, and it's something that a lot of people connect with. It's this idea of like it was crazy. There was no rules of any sorts, and people just kind of did what they like, and I think that's kind of the special part about it. You know, it was all about people embracing their individuality. You know, yeah.
Yeah, and this film isn't all about just raving. It's also very much about creativity. I mean, your lead character, Bastian, we're going on this journey as a DJ, and it flips from we go from chaotic nightclubs, rave scenes to him at home in his bedroom at his keyboard, and you could see he's trying to get a piece ready. You can see his frustration and trying to get some notes together, and then he gets it together, and then we go back to the clubs and the craziness. But it's about resilience, recovery, and the healing power of creativity, I suppose.
Yeah, thank you. You're very right in saying that. It's great, like, when people recognize that too, because it's not all about the rave scene. It's about creativity, and you'll notice as well for the viewers when they watch the film for the first time, it takes quite a stylistic and like a technical turn about halfway through. In up until you're kind of introduced to like the grittiness and the sweaty clubs and raves and the crowds, and then all of a sudden you're kind of taken to a different place, and it's slower and it's calmer and it's muted, and it's all about dealing with and coming to terms with grief, essentially. And I think that for us it was very, like, one of the biggest challenges was, how do we combine two different styles of film, like a heartfelt drama with an underground kind of a film, like exploring the illegal side of the rave scene. So it was quite difficult stitching that together. And myself and Ronan Murphy, the editor, we spent countless months restructuring and figuring out how can we join essentially what are two different types of films into one, but keep it threaded through, with the music and the piano chords. But I think by combining the themes that we have, it allows us to introduce a very immersive world, whereby the viewer can experience the rave just as the protagonist is living it for the first time.
Yeah, I mean, the core of the story is about grief and friendship, and just as much as it is about the music. I mean, the idea of the music is as a sanctuary, resonates. It's fantastic. And I'm just wondering why. You're 22, 23. What made you decided to go down this road of shooting a film that was set back in the 90s about the rave scene in Dublin?
To be honest, in today's age, rave has the word rave has changed a lot, but it's more popular than ever, and it's such a part of young people in Ireland today, and things like our way of going out and our way of expressing ourselves. And for me, it was like, I felt it was my duty to understand, where did this originate from? When did this start? Who was behind it? And how can I, as a storyteller, create an immersive world whereby I can allow, people who love rave and cinema to experience that whole journey of it. And I think it really connects with people who are ravers now and have always been, but also, regardless of the age. But I have to say, it's mostly just because I felt I had to find out when did this start and what launched it,
Yeah. Now let's talk about the technical aspects of the film. Your director of photography did a super job. Lighting was top class. The sound design is brilliant. Like, the music is super right the way through it.
Thank you.
You really put together a really good team, and I met some of the girls down in Dunleary as well. They were fantastic as well. I'm a great believer in surround yourself with really, really good people, and the end product is going to be super. And I think you've done that. A big hats off to your team. But let's start with your director of photography. Who did that for you?
Yeah, so a good mate of mine, Fikra Cotter Okulakon, he's also a student in the film school in Dunleary, and we study together. So I approached him last year, and I pitched the idea to him. And Fikra himself, he loves the whole house music, rave movement. So it was an instant connection. We knew it was going to be a great fit from day one. So even throughout our recce's and previs, we always kind of envisioned a very similar style, which was underground and gritty. And I think, you know, aside from all the challenges we faced in regards to budget and constraints on numbers of extras we could have, we really dealt with it the best and most original way we could at the time. And I just think it was very interesting the way in which Faker immersed himself in the crowd whilst shooting. I didn't keep it strict in terms of framing, because I knew that in a rave everything is going to be quite fluid. So I thought I'll allow Faker to, you know, be part of the rave and to dance with the ravers, to allow that almost that effect that you're flying within the crowd. And I really think it paid off, and I'm glad to hear that you liked it too.
Yeah, you see it in some of the scenes in Train Spotting as well. That those sort of camera angles that are used in the raves, it look great. Sound is crucial on any short. You could be doing the best short in the world and the most beautiful looking short or feature film, but if you don't get the sound right, it's just a mess. And I thought the sound and the sound design was fantastic, and in particular the music was really, really cool.
Thank you. You know, the music team were just phenomenal. We had Gabriel Leota, he's a graduate from the MTU School of Music in Cork. And we had Michael O'Sullivan, he's a Kilkenny-based composer and DJ as well, and he specializes in house music. So, you know, having a team like that come together and to feed off of each other was really beneficial, because it was just phenomenal the way they produced these original tracks whilst taking the essence of a 90s acid house tune, you know. You're hearing hints of Prodigy in there, you're hearing hints of Inner City, all of these kind of classical old school tracks. We spent a lot of time working on the tracks and ensuring that they fit the scenes and fit the story. The editing process wasn't easy. It was a very I don't know if it was how to put it. It was a different way of approaching it. You know, Ronan and I, we didn't have the tracks when we were cutting to the film, so I suppose when we went about kind of, look, how are we going to do this? I remember Ronan taking the lead and saying, you know, let's just piece it this way and let's have the rave, and you know, it's very interesting when you finally get the music and how that fits, because then you have to go back to the composers and say, can we adjust this please? And so it really took us a long time to lock the picture essentially. And then I had the amazing Dara Smitty on board. You know, Dara worked on all of the post sound afterwards. I helped him as well, just kind of stylistically. And we had Yasin Kirilov, he was amazing. He assisted Dara on location sound. So we have a massive team that were involved just in the sound side of things, because, you know, sound can be up to 70% of your film. If it's not right, it really can pull your audience out of the story.
Definitely. I couldn't agree more with you, Michael. Also, you know, from a film festival's perspective as well, and a film programmer, you can imagine the hundreds of films that are coming into a film program, you know, say Galway, Dublin International, Belfast, ourselves. You're going through an awful lot, and you want to make a really good impression from the very start. So, I mean, we watch everything from start to finish, but you could get a festival that is watching a film and the sound is wrong, your programmer is going to start switching off, and they'll be, and it's all about time for a film festival as well. They want to get the very best into the festival, put the best program together for an audience. And if your sound starts letting you down, there's a good chance you may not even be selected. So it's vital. It's vital that you get the, a good sound team behind you. So well done. You did really well there. The other thing I thought was great as well, I thought you guys know, there was costume. Everybody had the right costume. You know, it was pure 90s for me. Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah, I have to give the hats off, you know, to Greta Thornton. She oversaw all of the costume work, and Greta is from Galway, and she, also has a love for 90s. So you'll notice kind of a reoccurring thing whereby everyone involved in this film is somewhat connected or loves 90s and house music. So every person, every individual you see, every outfit they're wearing has been thought through, like, you know, a dozen times. Even the parents, you know, we spent a lot of time looking at their costumes and how can we give the father and the mother that kind of very not very put together, but also very 1990s Ireland, Catholic Ireland as well. We wanted to lean into, so very, I suppose, depictive of how, you know, being at home would have been like, especially, you know, after the film kind of, as it progresses, you'll notice there's some scenes whereby people are a lot more dressed up, and it's reflective of like obviously what's happened in the story. But you know, Greta spent so much time figuring out how can we convey emotion within the costume, and I think that really helped. And you look at the rave as well, like every raver, every dancer, supporting artist is kind of has their own little look and their own hairstyle. And we had an amazing team on hair and makeup who also just did them up so much that like you really felt you were in a rave. I remember when I stepped out to the set of like the warehouse rave for the first time, I couldn't believe it, like how put together everyone was. And it really helps, I think, a team of filmmakers when everything is done as authentically as possible, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
The other thing as well, Michael, is let's have a quick chat about your cast. Casting was great. You got Connor, you got Louis, you got Daniel was great, and then a great friend of mine is Ruth Hayes. I'm a huge fan of Ruth. She's been in work at Underground Cinema since we very first started. She worked very closely with a brilliant director called Mark Hogan from Cork. So I'm a great fan of her work. So you got a great team together there. They did a great job.
Absolutely. I couldn't have asked for a more stronger cast, and as well, like fitting for the characters. We spent a lot of time in the casting process, and we looked at a lot of people for every character, and we tried chemistry tests. We cut tapes together to see, could you believe that this is a family? Could you believe that these two lads are mates? And then after that, we had to do in-person auditions. So you're looking at a couple of weeks there, and I think it actually led into about a month or two before we were able to make a decision. And so it's been carefully thought through if you could believe that this is a family and these two lads are best mates, you know. And it takes as well a lot of auditions, and you know, I remember with Louis and Daniel, it was fantastic because from the first day, you know, they were obviously a bit shy in that. But I remember we went in and we recreated the rave just in our own space, and we said, let's just go for it. Let's put on the music. Let's dance. Let's just forget about anything else and all the production side of things. And you know, Louis and Daniel are just really talented, I have to say, because they're obviously emerging and they're still finding their feet as artists and kind of the roles that they're trying to pursue. But I really think they embodied it so well and so accurately, you know, and they were willing to just drastically change their hair. Louis shaved his head, Daniel bleached his hair, and that was quite a, you know, how would you put it, like a makeover essentially. And then we had, you know, Ruth and Connor, who would be a lot more experienced in terms of like theatre and screen, and it was really nice the way in which they all joined together to kind of come together as one, essentially.
Yeah, you have a lovely shot near the, you know, just coming up near the end of the film, which I thought was fantastic. It's just right outside the house, and I think it's Louis at the window. Am I right? Louis upstairs.
Yeah.
So looking up towards Louis, I thought the light. There's a great shot there with the lighting is flashing. We could see it's like his own rave in his own head upstairs in the bedroom, but the light goes out in a beat, on a particular beat. It just stops, which I thought was great. Really, really, really great.
Thank you. And you'll notice that that's actually timed perfectly to the, you know, the score. Yeah.
I spotted it again. I watched, as I said, I watched it again last night, and I thought that the timing was great, absolutely wonderful. You know, you couldn't have done a better job on it. And I'm watching closely on Facebook and social media at the moment, so it's doing the festival circuit at the moment. It seems to be going down really well. Mike, are you pleased with it so far?
I obviously, when you set out to make a film, you really don't know if this is going to land, if people are going to connect with it, and we're very pleased that people are connecting with it as much as they are, and people are really just feeling like real emotion when they, you know, watch this. And we're really delighted, you know, to be at Underground, and we're also going to Galway Fla in November for the Generation Shorts program.
Cool.
We're also in the Waterford Film Festival, and we just came back from the UK as well. And that was a completely different experience because I felt like a lot of the feedback I got was just completely different to what we got in Ireland, and very positive. But it was just different observations in the film, and I really benefited from that, I think. But I have to say it's really rewarding for us as filmmakers and as actors and you know, people in the arts to just have people watch it. Like, you know, if you're going into it for awards or anything like that, I don't think it's gonna show, it's gonna come off as natural. You know, you have to go in with this aiming just to reach an audience and tell a story. And I think, and I know that that's what we set out to do, and that's probably why now we're able to touch so many hearts, you know.
Yeah, I think that's a great attribute. You know, to park the glory to one side. You have a story to tell, a film to make. You know, whatever happens afterwards will be. But you got a story to tell, and you guys did a great job. How long did it take to shoot?
Oh, we started pre-production at the end of August of 2024, and we were shooting by December. So I remember it was actually just before Christmas, probably. I think we shot. I'm trying to think back of the call sheets, but it was. We had about a 4 or 5 day shoot in December, and then we came to February, whereby we had a bit of trouble with the editing, whereby we were stuck on a scene and it wasn't working. So we had to scrap that scene that we had actually shot and written and everything. And we wrote a new scene and we shot that, and then that's what you're seeing in the film now. So, you know, it's always like you learn from these things, and from the writing, obviously, it's a big part of it. But we very much found our story in the edit, I think. But it was for the best, I feel. And we were able to introduce new characters as well. You know, when you have Bastian and Alex in the field with the boombox, that was, you know, something completely new that we felt would really elevate this film. And bringing in a couple of their friends and ravers into the scene, and the pirate radio station, all these elements, they come together, you know.
Yeah, I got a great kick out of that because that's what we used to do in our 20s. You know, we'd be with the boombox, you know, in the field, and even you got the boombox right. It's the right one, you know. It's at the period. Do you remember we were talking? Sorry.
It wasn't easy at all. I remember I didn't have a boombox up until like could have been the day of or the night before. I just had a lot of trouble getting the boombox. Yeah.
Yeah. Do you remember when we were talking? We were chatting in O'Leary, and you mentioned this could be a feature. Is that something you're thinking about?
Yeah, certainly. I felt as a director, as a storyteller, there's so much I didn't get to say with the short, and I'm happy with everything I got to say with it. But for those who like aren't involved in film, it's this feeling. It's almost like you have to sneeze, and when you sneeze, you're kind of you feel like creatively you're satisfied, you know. But I felt with this, I have so much more to say, and the short has allowed me to use this as a concept for something a lot bigger, and to introduce more characters, and to really follow that storyline from start to finish, and with, you know, the inciting incident, and just really developing that. So I think that this short really allows us as a team to reflect and figure out what works and what doesn't work, and to put it towards something a lot bigger.
Fantastic. You're still in college at the moment. You're on IADT, yeah?
Yes, I am.
What year are you on?
I'm in my graduate year at the moment.
Oh, you're in your graduate year. Listen, you're in a fantastic college. I mean, the work that comes through from IADT and a lot of the other film schools around the country is superb. IADT is the home of filmmaking. It's the National Film School. It's in my hometown as well. So anytime something from IADT comes through on on Film Freeway, I'm delighted to see what's coming next. I'm a big fan of the student category. Is very close to my heart, to be honest with you. I really enjoy the student program when we do it down to Larry. I think it's a very important award as well when we do the awards in November. And look, Michael, we wish you the very best of luck with it on its festival run. I can't wait to see what you have up your sleeve for us next? Is there anything else in the pipeline at the moment?
Thank you, Dave. Very kind words. I'm most grateful for that, and I'll pass it on to all of the team as well, because it's as I always say, it's as like artists, it's just there's nothing as rewarding as when people just appreciate the time and effort you put into a film. Yeah, but for myself, I'm always working on different ideas and things, but I think I really see something in this story and in this project, and it's something I'm really committed to pursuing over the next year and a bit, just developing that. And hopefully I'll be able to bring in the same talent, because I think that, everyone like that was involved in this made this film happen. Every person, every single like background artist, every single assistant, everyone like had an idea, and it really helped us shape the film that we have today. And yeah, I think it's a very exciting thing. I don't think it's been done before either, so it's very interesting for Ireland, and the film industry in Ireland to have something like this come out.
Great, Michael. I have an awful lot of time for you, Michael. You have a great respect for your cast and for your crew. I even noticed there that you didn't call anybody an extra. You called them a background artist, so you have a respect for your cast and your crew. I can't wait to see you again. I can't wait to see what you have up the pipeline. You guys are such nice people to meet face to face. I can't wait to see you all again. And listen, congratulations on your 3 nominations at Underground Cinema this year. It's a great achievement.
Thank you. We're really chuffed, and we look forward to the event as well. Dunleary and Underground have always been very supportive to us, so thank you.
Thanks, Michael. Okay, Thanks. That's it. Take care, Michael. Thanks a million for joining us.
Thanks. Enjoy. Good luck with the rest of the interviews.
Thank you.
Good luck. See you.